already. This is going to be exciting.
And we got car starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
It's Bristol, baby, and from the last great Coliseum, the Goat Locker Racing INVETS Grand National Series playoffs are entering the round of 8 tonight. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Bristol Motor Speedway. Mark Whitley secured his spot in this round of the playoffs with a huge win last week at Iowa, while Barrett Morton battled through an early crash to finish second on the podium, only to be eliminated from the playoffs after the points were tallied. I'm Dave Regal alongside the Big Red Machine from the North Pole, Logan Santa Threlkeld, with Skylar Daly in the production truck, and we're ready to bring you all the action. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on V-Speed. And folks, we want to welcome everybody here to Bristol Motor Speedway as we take a look at that round of 8 tonight. Mark Whitley, of course, leading the charge with Joseph McWhorter, Ken Huber, Burke Davis, Frederick Seagraves Jr. III, Garrett Kinder, and Wallace rounding out that round of 8. And I'll tell you what, Logan, this is a night where, as we look at the conditions here on the racetrack, I'm excited to see how high we can turn up the tension.
Absolutely, buddy. This one is going to be a great race. We've got 100 laps on the board for us today. And, of course, under the lights here in Bristol, Tennessee, there's not a whole lot that beats being under the lights at a short track race, just 0.53 miles around the world's fastest half mile, 30 degrees of banking in the corners, and of course, opened up here in 1960. It's going to be a great time. The speed is always fast, except for on pit road. That will be the challenge tonight. 35 miles an hour for these drivers. 4 sets of tires available. That'll be 1 on the car, 3 over the wall with 2 green-white checkered attempts at the very end of this race if we need them. And of course, the iRacing Fix setup with 60% fuel, so a little bit of strategy to play with.
Yeah, strategy is going to be a big deal tonight, and as I had mentioned earlier, Mark Whitley picked up the win last week. He gets to see the front row tonight as he is going to be given the Jam Printing and Promotion Pole Award. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning, and they are local and veteran certified, and when they do well, they can do more good in the community. Joining him on the front row are the usual suspects, or the usual suspect, Joseph McWhorter in the number 72 machine. We head on back to row number 2, Tracy Passons and Garrett Kinder in his Ford Mustang, a pair of blue ovals in row number 2. Row 3 going to be anchored down here as we move on with Kyle Deering in another Ford with the first Chevrolet Camaro here in row number 6. That's Judson Curtis in the 29 as the camera swings around. Starting in 7th, going to be Wesley Burke with Christopher Heiner holding things together in 8th position. Rounding out your starting top 10 is Austin McColgan and Devontae Drain here in his Toyota Supra.
And the middle portion of the field will start out with the 99 of Brandon Wallace next to the 59 of Frederick Seagraves Jr. starting at P12. P13 is Barrett Morton in the 9 machine next to the other 9, the 09 of Stephon Davis. In 15th, the 80 of Kevin Price rolls off next to the 45 of Cody Turner. In 17th, Stephen Purcell in the 92 next to the 16 of Jamie Libke. Last but not least, in the top 20, it is Wyatt dueling in the 51 next to the 90 of Dave Calvert.
Starting in 21st is Mark Barcelos in the 49 machine with Brock Price in 22nd. 23rd goes to Benjamin Richards with the 24th position, starting shotgun on the field, going to Darrell Whitford. As 25th and 26th, Chuck Pegleg, Feltz, and Gary Wright not committing to the start tonight, as they are still grayed out on my timing and scoring. So 24 cars scheduled to take the green flag tonight here as the iRacing.com pace car gets us moving around. We want to thank everybody for tuning in and making us a part of their evening as we get ready to tool around. I'll tell you what, Thunder Valley's loudest place, Bristol Motor Speedway.
I love racing at Bristol.
The iRacing.com pace car. Now, with that dual pit road, it's going to make things really difficult for drivers to figure out where they got to be. I hope everybody practiced that as the iRacing.com pace car brings us through the 3-4 complex. We're going to take one more parade lap around this place because everybody's got to figure out where they're going. That front and back is really confusing for a driver.
Yeah, of course, only 22 pit stalls on either side of this track, so we'll have four drivers rather, that will have to take their pit stops on the back straight rather than the front. So definitely need to keep track of where you're at when it comes time to make your pit stops.
Yeah, that can be incredibly confusing and really disorienting for a driver because you're already making, turn after turn and you're dealing with traffic. There's so much going on. And that's what I think sets iRacing apart from everybody else. You have to be your own driver, crew chief, spotter, the whole nine most of the time. As the iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road, the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time. Green flag in the air, the 77 of the 72 already dueling it out as the extreme scoring green flag waves.
Side by side for lap number one, Joseph McWhorter does get the nose ahead of Mark Whitley to take the lead of lap one. He's going to charge around the outside. That 77 will have to fall in line, holding on to P2. Garrett Kinder right now rolling here in P3, up one spot from his fourth starting position.
Christopher Heiner working alongside the 53, the Lynchburg, Virginia native in the ace. Has the 33 now of Devontae Drain all over his rear bumper. Drain's going to peek to the inside. Heiner goes sideways. That's going to trigger the first caution flag of the night. Fortunately, we got to see that in real time just after Mark Whitley laid fast time down at 15.4 seconds flat. Let's go to the V-Speed instant replay, and we can see very simply the rear end of the one just began to over-rotate. That's what happens when you're in that middle groove and there's just not enough rubber to grip you in early on in this race.
There was a secondary issue there as everybody was able to avoid the one of Heiner, but we had a little bunch up here right at the start-finish line. Nobody making contact with the wall. I believe it was the 99 of Brandon Wallace in the mix. Possibly the 45 of Cody Turner, actually. It looks like he's going to make his way down into the pits. So a little bit of damage for both of those drivers, I believe.
It's fine, it's fine. Everything's fine. Let's take a look here. There we are with, nope, just kidding. Production says it's not working. That's fine. We can work with that. Want to take a quick peek here at our remaining schedule as we're now deep into the playoffs, of course, as we open our round of 8. We're here at Bristol tonight. Next week, we get to go to Chicagoland, which, of course, only lives here on iRacing and for the time being. And then championship week going to be in 2 weeks at Homestead, Miami. And you know what, Logan? This is one of those situations, this is one of those times of year where I get excited because it feels better when the championship is held in Homestead.
Yeah, Homestead is one of my favorite tracks. And, it's serving as the championship race for a couple different series here. So we're going to have a lot of coverage there in Miami in just 2 short weeks. And of course, Chicagoland, like you said, for the time being, only lives here on iRacing until July of this year when we finally get to see some real-life action up there.
Yeah, one of the greatest things about iRacing, I mean, I know a minute ago I was just kind of griping for the sake of our drivers about, having to be your own driver, crew chief, and spotter. One of the greatest things about iRacing is that these racetracks that have, been taken off of the real life schedule get to live forever. And iRacing has even resurrected some of the racetracks from days past, like Hickory and other places that don't actually exist in real life.
Done a fantastic job of putting together just a catalog of places where you could want to be but might not be able to go visit. You can visit it right here on the iRacing service.
As we get ourselves settled in here, I want to thank everybody for checking in on YouTube. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can be told every time we go live right here on YouTube. V-Speed is an ever-growing network, at least for my money it is. And my goodness, what a great set of races we have with the Goat Locker family of racing series.
Got action every single night over here across multiple different platforms, couple road course, couple mixed bag as the IndyCar series on Saturdays. Road course and oval stuff, but we're going to take it back here to the green. The pace car should come off this time. Joseph McWhorter in control on the top line. Into the extreme scoring restart zone we go for the first official restart of Bristol.
McWhorter with a great restart here. The jump was good for the 72. He is really, he's one of those drivers that, to me, if we had drag racing on iRacing, he would be in the money all the time. Devontae Drain now working just over top of the 50 of Kyle Deering, and Deering not ready to give up the bottom. He's able to wrap the yellow line for the time being, but now Drain getting a little bit of momentum. Drafting not even close to a factor in a place like this, but Drain gets a great run out of turn 4 and capitalizes, now drops right down in front of that 50-cent piece of Kyle Deering.
Just behind that is the 04 of Wesley Burke. Behind them, it's the 54 of Austin McGulkin. It looked like the 54 might have had an opportunity as he's going to look around the outside of the 04 of Burke, try to get the drive off the top of the corner. Burke looking to the inside of Deering now. Wants that position back.
Now a battle for the lead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but the 77 now looking to the inside of the 72. Mark Whitley and Joseph McWhorter, if there are two drivers on the iRacing.com servers that I would trust to battle it out at a place like Bristol, side by side, it's McWhorter and Whitley. These guys know what they're doing. They know each other, and they understand these cars so well. And as McWhorter now gets to scamper away from Whitley, Whitley's not going to give up easily, but he is definitely going to maybe follow behind here by about a quarter of a second and reload as back deeper in the field. Burke and Drain now going at it. Burke getting a great run off of 2 down the backstretch, hauling it into turns 3 and 4, and he now gets to get away as Austin McColgan is melting like a snow cone as he now slides behind the 53 of Tracy Passons. Whitley still laying fast time down atop the pile, but right now a great battle here as Austin McColgan tries to get back up to Tracy Passons. Another lead change. Watch the 77 of Whitley. Check that out, Logan.
Whitley's doing a great job of challenging to the inside. Going back to that comment about, liking the battle between these two, you got to remember at the same time, there's a lot of history between the 77 and the 72 with getting into each other and taking one, the other, or both out of the race. And a lot of conflicting information. On my side is Whitley, big loose off of turn 4. He slides back behind the 72 for now as they work their way around some lap traffic. That's the 20 of Daryl Whitford.
Whitford now starting, oh dear, and falling out of nowhere is Kevin Price. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like maybe a connection issue for Kevin Price. That's frustrating in a place like this. He's still kind of dropping around as now Joseph McWhorter gains away from Mark Whitley, 0.3 of a second now. This battle heating up with Wyatt Dooling as Dooling, he was starting to fall back behind the 92 and now has kind of gotten comfortable behind the wheel. He's trying to figure this racetrack out as he looks to the outside of the lung dart machine of Stefan Purcell, that Marlboro Huggies machine, now holding on and getting stuck just behind the 20. And caution.
That is an issue
Randy
down
Wallace.
in turn 3 with Wallace.
Let's take a look and see what happened with Wallace. My goodness. They had a great run going. Wallace kind of kisses the wall. Oh, so for starters, that looked like maybe it had a little bit to do with our old nemesis net code, but looks like Wallace would have come across the nose of the 44 of Gary Wright anyway.
Luckily, just a light tap there for Wright, so not a lot of damage for him to worry about. Wallace would be more worried about that outside portion of the race car after the contact with the wall. Never hit the wall again, thankfully, so he'll be able to continue on, but now being scored as 1 lap down, Dave.
Yeah, that was lap number 23. We're here on lap 24. Pit stop's going to be underway for many of these drivers. Want to check in with our good friends at the GLR Pit Crew. The GLR Pit Crew program is a monthly giving initiative designed to provide consistent, meaningful support in our fight against PTSD, mental health struggles, and suicide in the veteran and first responder community. When you join, you're not just making a donation, you're becoming part of a team. The team that keeps this mission moving forward. Learn more today or join today at goatlockerracing.org and click on the Pit Crew banner. And you can check that out, see that right there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as the iRacing.com pace car brings us on another parade lap tonight.
So already a quarter of the way through this race. That's one of the things about Bristol is it's just so quick under green flag conditions. Of course, lap times right at that 15-second mark through the entire field at the moment. That'll be interesting if these drivers can pick up the pace a little bit. The track temperature has come up just a few degrees, up to 80 degrees now on the surface. But it won't slow these drivers down by any means, being that low.
No, and I mean, even at this stage in a race, most of these drivers, at least, from what I've seen, they're able to compete at an incredibly high level and get it done, regardless of what the situation may be, and how long is left in this race, which right now is 75 laps.
It looks like the 44 of Gary Wright has received an EOL from race control for that last incident with the 99 of Wallace. Wallace, the only driver, 1 lap down now as Darrell Whitford received the lucky dog pass. He rejoins the field on the lead lap. Side by side coming up to the extreme scoring restart zone. And away we go for restart number 2. Joseph McWhorter still in control from that top line. Whitley gets a great jump from the bottom side, stays competitive all the way around the track. Will he have a move here in 3 and 4? He got the nose just ahead momentarily, but the yellow comes right back out. Big issues out of turn number 2.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's no way. You don't want to be that guy. Nobody wants to be that guy.
49 involved, Mark Barcelos. There's a couple other cars that were down there very slow. I don't know if they got quite involved with it. The 54 with some contact. The 51 stacks up. The 16 behind. Of course, the story for Libke has always been getting involved in somebody else's issues. Luckily, no damage, though, for the 16 machine. We'll take an onboard look here with Austin McGolkin.
Well, and you hit that note right on the head. Jamie Libke, more than once, as we go on board here with Austin McColgan, there's the looseness, a little bobble coming down into turn 1. Jamie Libke, and I've said this all season long, she doesn't mean to get in these situations. That's no different than going out in the public servers on iRacing, and you get wrapped up in somebody else's BS, and all of a sudden you have a 4X. I just feel so frustrated for her here in the 16 machine.
But like I said, luckily no damage for Jamie Libke. That's the best outcome possible in that situation. Of course, not quite up to speed, so that helps quite a bit. Still rolling around here towards the back of the field, holding on to the 21st position right now. Whitley and McWhorter have swapped spots from that restart. The 77 just had the nose ahead. I believe he will be restarting from the bottom line. McWhorter will still be on the top, so keep an eye out for those two to keep battling up here at the front after the restart.
Taking a quick peek here, it looks like just moments ago, the 44 was given the EOL for contact with the 99. So that's going to be assessed already. And I guess one of the interesting things for these drivers is when you're given that EOL penalty, here at a place like Bristol, sometimes you don't really have to wait that long before you can get the lap back that you probably just lost, due to another incident.
Yeah, Bristol, it's a place that cautions can breed cautions. We've seen it already a little early in this race, but at the same time, you never know. These drivers out here have the capabilities of taking this on a long green flag run. We'll see what they can put together this time as they enter turn 3, double back up. Pace car lights are out.
This caution, we just got the ruling from race control. It was a race control thrown caution as we hit the extreme scoring restart zone. We'll give you that detail in just a moment. But my God, Whitley just jumped the restart. Thank goodness for our crack team over there in the race control tower, because that was nearly an illegal restart. As Garrett Kinder now gets just behind Wesley Burke in the 04. The 4 and the 04 now hauling the mail just behind Joseph McWhorter. McWhorter kind of lurking behind Mark Whitley, who wanted to get as much distance between him and his arch nemesis as they are scattering, my goodness, behind. Let's take a look here at the 45 of Cody Turner, who just dove to the inside of the racetrack. Now flying in front of him is the 51. They still haven't finished trying to sort this out. Good Lord, the federal government can get their act together faster than these guys can right now.
75 of Chuck Pegleg Feltz holding on to the outside line. He's going to get the fast drive off the corner there. Put a lot of distance between himself and the 45. Feltz finding some speed.
I was going to say, something tells me Feltz is, although that he didn't take the green flag per se, after not qualifying, he obviously decided, I'm going to let some of the trash get out from in front of me and let me cut through here nice and quiet. And I say this all the time on iRacing. When all of a sudden you look up and see somebody has gained several spots and they've done it the quiet way, as Chuck has with 9 to the good, that means that they're making the smart decisions on the racetrack. As we take a look here, Dave Calvert in the 90 machine, just ahead of the X-Side Batteries number 09 of Stefan Davis. X-Side Batteries headquartered in Reading, Pennsylvania, now defunct and nothing but a bunch of, well, let's just say polluted soil.
Well, you're talking about the positions gained for Chuck Feltz. The only other driver that has more spots so far is Brock Price up here in the 8th position. Now we have 2 distinct groups that have separated here. The top 7 from Whitley back to Curtis are about 2 seconds ahead of Brock Price. But the Price family, they tend to host quite a few practice sessions throughout the week. So first of all, I want to give them a shout out for all of their assistance with these drivers, trying to get as many laps under their belt as possible. And it's certainly paying off as the 43 and the 80 of Kevin Price running here in the top 10.
Running through our top 10, it's Whitley, McWhorter, Burke, Kinder, Passons, Deering, Curtis, Price, and Frederick Seagraves Jr. the third. And Frederick Seagraves Jr. now starting to creep up on Kevin Price in the 80 machine. And, kind of in that powder blue maroon look. Oh,
man, big hit to the inside wall.
Wow, that was a mess. Meanwhile, Seagraves just gets a run on the 80. Good Lord. All kinds of things happening simultaneously here as we go to the V-Speed instant replay. Let's take a peek at the 09. Oh, yeah, that's
left
that's
front
not good
directly
for
into that
anybody.
wall.
Yeah, that's not good for anybody.
That will severely hurt the driving of that '09 machine as Stephon Davis falls back to the 22nd position. Now issues. It looks like Kevin Price in the 80.
Here we go under caution again, just in case we haven't had it done. Let's watch that 80 machine. We're going to see the rear end of this thing just start a-stepping. Oh! Oy! Right to the inside goes the rear, and the nose hits that outside wall.
It's not quite clear enough. Got lucky though, again, doesn't look like there should be too much damage on either one of those cars. Maybe some nose damage, but this track being so short, you don't have to worry too much about the aerodynamics, but it does look like race control is serving that 80 machine a meatball flag. Because we've got a couple black flags in the field here. It looks like Barrett Morton's picked one up. The 45 of Cody Turner's picked one up.
Well, the 80, I looked at it from a different angle on my own feed. The 80 kind of got tight and surfed up, to the high side of the racetrack. So, Kevin Price out of Findlay, Ohio, just not able to corral that 80. Maybe he probably drove in just a little bit too hard, as right now he's, oddly enough, being scored in third. But Wesley Burke going to cycle to the front. Some more pit stops as Kevin Price has been given that meatball. He's going to head on down pit road. Wesley Burke and Judson Curtis have not come down pit road for reasons nobody can quite explain, including yours truly. Austin McColgan, he's going to be in third position. Jamie Libke, she gets into fourth. And rounding out the top five is Dave Calvert. We want to thank our friends at Goat Talk Live. Goat Talk is more than just a show. It's a platform dedicated to supporting our nation's heroes. Through engaging conversations, Goat Talk spotlights the impactful work GLR does to build community and camaraderie through their iRacing leagues. Each week, hang out with the GLR crew for an incredible story, sim racing action, and a celebration of the spirit of service and community. Don't miss your chance to connect with the people driving change and supporting those who have served. Check out Goat Talk Live with Patrick and Eddie. And I'll tell you what, Patrick and Eddie are two of my favorite people, in the iRacing community. Patrick has such a passion for what Goat Talk is doing. And Eddie, to me, Eddie Smith is just, he is a production extraordinaire. If you would have seen what he had to go through last year to get the ARCA series with all of the drivers that we had on the air, my God.
Yeah, it's quite impressive what he can do behind the scenes of the computer screen. And like you said, Patrick, just an exorbitant amount of passion for just doing the things that are right. So really appreciate both of those guys. But I do want to take a second to draw some attention out here to the YouTube chat. We've got Rick Ray Vaughn out there saying he does not want to say who he picks for the win. But Rick, I'm going to have to ask you to go ahead and drop that pick in the chat, because I know the history with that. I know exactly why you're saying it, but maybe shake things up here for these playoff drivers a little bit.
Race control checking in, letting us know that netcode on our end for the Kevin Price incident, and then the caution was extended by 1 lap due to some foolery by iRacing. Foolery is a technical term as we hit the extreme scoring restart zone, and off we are. Extreme Scoring has an incredible set of software. Believe me, it puts other scoring software to shame. As side by side goes the 54 of Austin McColgan and Jamie Libke. Now, we see the 77 and the 72 in this mix, and I got to be honest, even with the skilled drivers of Libke and the 54 of Austin McColgan, I'd be a little nervous if I were playoff drivers like Whitley and McWhorter.
Absolutely. There's 100% good reason to be nervous whenever you're in this type of position, but the yellow flag is going to wave again. And I believe that will be the 09 again, the Eggside machine. Slow on the bottom of the track, not the race that Stephon Davis was hoping to have today. Loose again. Oh, man. just got barely lucky. A great drive to the outside by Chuck Pegleg Phelps to avoid that one. Luckily, the 09 didn't visit the pit wall again.
You know what? I mean, Chuck Pegleg Phelps, sure, managed to avoid that, but so did everybody else. I mean, a big tip of the cap there to all of those drivers. And thanks for stating the obvious. Race control as the 09 self-spun. Whew. Without that crack team of analysis up there, I don't think we would have figured that one out. We love you,
Really,
Sam. Just
really
messing
hard
with
to
you.
find.
Yeah.
I was very surprised there by the.
Seen that one.
I was quite surprised by that start by Wesley Burke with those much older tires already. The full 55 laps on the same set of tires for the 04. Right? He got way out there, Dave.
He did. But you know what, though? I think some of those drivers, you have to understand, like Whitley and McWhorter being buried the way that they are, they've got to play this a little bit conservatively, especially because one false move and all of a sudden your playoffs are ruined. I mean, their goal right now is to win each of those drivers. Their goal is to win this week so that they don't have to stress next. But, nobody wants to have to stress it out on cut week. As we float, I'll tell you what, the camera work right now from Sky Daily is just this side of spectacular.
And taking a look at the 04 and the 29, both of those drivers running on the apron, shutting the car down, coasting as far as they can. They're fully committing to taking this to the very end of the race at this point. There's no way that they will revisit pit lane here, and they're going to try to stretch out that 60% fuel cell all the way to the end.
Not mad at it.
Pretty well come in at some point. Jamie Lipke was 32 laps ago. Austin McColgan, he was 27 laps ago. Then everybody else behind that just pitted 10 laps ago.
Hey, even with some of this rumble, stumble, fumble routine here at Bristol Motor Speedway, these guys have managed, and girls, but these drivers have managed to keep the competition as high as possible and to keep the green flags down. This is caution number 5, and I realize that seems like a lot, but 5 cautions at a place like Pocono, that's a 2-minute lap under caution. Here, 5 cautions is like a cup of coffee, literally a cup of coffee.
Double back up, working through turns 3 and 4. The pace car makes the way down into the front stretch pit stalls. Green flag waves again by Extreme Scoring Restart Zone. And Wesley Burke, another fantastic jump, but immediately under fire. The 29 from the 77 working the outside line with Joseph McWhorter just behind. Jamie Lipke starting to fall off just a touch, but holds it down to the bottom. Now Whitley and McWhorter both around Judson Curtis. Just one more car to go to see one of those drivers back on the top step.
Yeah, Mark Whitley out of Wilmington, North Carolina is not a bad. Just kidding. Caution, here we are.
That is the backstretch. We've got 4 of them here locked down. Gary Wright, Barrett Morton, Stephon Davis, Brock Price all involved in this one.
Take a look here at the V-Speed Instant Replay as we're going to see watch the 9 just back into this wall.
Had some separate incidents there. Looked like I don't know if the 44 had any contact. I think just trying to avoid it, got loose himself, and it looked like the 09 got a small touch there from the 43 of Brock Price.
Yeah, he nearly backed hungrily into that wall too. That was not fun.
Gary Wright just playing his part, trying to avoid it, locked it down a little too hard. The rear end came around.
I hate it when my rear end comes around.
Again, not a ton of damage on those cars.
That is a racing problem. I don't know what's so funny. Don't you hate it when your rear end comes around?
I do, specifically at Charlotte.
Woof. Yeah. It's a rough day, pal. Want to thank our friends at MK Fire. At MK Fire Design, we believe every hero's story deserves to be etched in wood. From the thin red line to every branch of our military, we craft custom, handcrafted flags that honor service, sacrifice, and pride. Honor your sacrifice today at mkfiredesigns.com. Every flag has a story. What's yours? I'll tell you what. I have a wooden thin red line for myself, of course, for the fire department. And I'll tell you what. They are just a cool look. They make the decal on the back of my truck look really dumb.
You know, I got the pleasure of seeing some of the MK Fire Design products up at the Sim Gaming Expo in Chicago last year, and man, they are just top quality stuff. Like I've seen quite a bit of woodworking in my time, and their designs are just phenomenal, first of all, and on top of that, again, the quality is just right where you want it to be.
Yeah, you know what? There are some, crafts that I've seen over the years, craft shows and things, out in the world that I'm like, ho hum. But I'll tell you what, MK Fire Designs, the stuff that I've seen online is impressive, no matter what. As the iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road, we hit the extreme scoring restart zone, and we're back underway at Bristol. 64 laps in the books. As we head on deeper into the night, the 04 of Wesley Burke got a decent jump, but not enough to hold off those fresher tires of Mark Whitley. Maybe those tires here on the 04 are starting to show their age. The scary thing, though, Logan, is if those tires come under too much, assault here, and he loses it. Oh, my nose! Right to the rear bumper for the 04. I've never seen anybody bump draft at Bristol. But that's about as close as you're going to get, as the 77 of Mark Whitley says, buddy, you got to get out of my way. And just as he does that, now he looks to the inside of the 04. He's going to need a roll right underneath. But now the 04 of Wesley Burke still holds his own and now drops in front of the 77 and retains the lead as the caution flag flies for the 7th time this evening.
Issues down in turn. Jamie
That's
Lipke.
Jamie Lipke. She can't park there. Somebody needs to tell her she can't park. Oh, and she got it out of the way. Let's go to the V-Speed Institute. Oi! Somebody rang her bell. They said, let freedom ring, and obviously it was a hard ring.
It's not a phone call you want to pick up.
No, not at all. Let's watch and see what happened. There's Chuck Phelps to the inside. Oh, that almost looked... We're going to get a look right inside the cockpit here of Jamie Lipke, but it almost looked like she had a hardware failure, as violently as that was, because there was nobody around to help make that turn.
I think it was just loose on entry there, a slight overcorrection, and these cars, they snapped so hard here at Bristol. I think that's exactly what happened to Lipke, and unfortunately, I think that might have expired the engine as well. That was a immediate meatball flag, and then towing back to the pits rather than driving. It still has a fast repair in the back pocket, but now going to be multiple laps down.
Yeah, you can get your spaghetti out because there are plenty of meatballs here in the lower portion of our timing line. Barrett Morton, Jamie Lipke, and Kevin Price. And from race control, once again, a self-spin taking Barrett Morton out. Oof. It's almost like Samuel Joseph went to the John Madden School of Sports Analysis.
Well, we finally figured it out here in the YouTube chat. Rick Ray Vaughn's pick to win was Jamie Lipke. Now is going to be working on a new pick. So the Ray Vaughn curse lives on. We have the commentator curse that frequently visits the Daniel Cunningham booth. But Rick Ray Vaughn, he's got a talent out there in the chat for picking people that will not make it to the end of this race. The commenters.
Busy night. I was going to say busy night if you were looking. It's almost like you were in my head. Busy night if you're the commentator. And you start talking about one thing, but Rick Raven's choice, Mark Whitley, because that's, oof. Talk about taking low-hanging fruit.
For reference, though, Mark Whitley, he's one of few drivers that have broken the Cunningham curse. So, you know, if there's anybody out here that I think could beat the Rick Ray Vaughn curse, it would be Whitley.
You know, it's almost like Mike Greenberg. He is the kiss of death for all things sports. As the iRacing.com pace car peels down pit road, we hit the extreme scoring restart zone, and we're back underway with 29 laps to go at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dave Regal and Logan Threlkeld with you in the broadcast booth. Sky Daly down on the ones and twos and everything in between, while the 77 of Mark Whitley now stays just ahead of Joseph McWhorter. McWhorter goes side by side with the 4 of Garrett Kinder, and now, you know, this is impressive to me to watch the 77 of Whitley having to work his tail off to get around Wesley Burke. I mean, let's think about this, kids. I mean, this guy's up here with, what, 74 lap old tires, holding off somebody with tires that are, you know, 40 laps newer? Good Lord. That's impressive. I don't care who you are.
It's been helpful having the cautions to keep the heat out of the tires, but it's still a very tough thing to overcome regardless. But he's being pressured heavily by Mark Whitley all over that back bumper right now, so he'll back off just a touch. Working back through the start-finish line on board now with Whitley. Let's take a look and see. It's almost a defensive line there. He's covering both the bottom line and the second groove up. So really the only place for Whitley to go right now would be high and outside.
Well, and you know what? Oh, jeez. You know, realistically, what Whitley needs to focus on right now is just keep McWhorter behind you. He'll, you know, the 04 of Burke, who now he goes side by side, wheel to wheel with, down into turns 1 and 2. Whitley still having to struggle with the 04. They go and all but are able to waggle their fingers at one another through the window net. As we've got caution number 8 out on the racetrack. Can't see who that is up against the wall.
It's like McColgan.
Well, somebody better call the tow truck. He didn't pay for that parking spot either. The 54 gets a little bit of help, it looked like, coming out of 4 from the 53. And now the 53, oh yeah, dug into him. Oof. Like a shovel in the garden. Good Lord.
Red M&M on the left rear quarter panel is not a target, ladies and gentlemen.
See, now I thought that was a bullseye.
I think they did too.
Well, we'll get a ruling from race control here, as he does get to use his fast control. Wesley Burke retains the race lead and drives past the commitment cone again. So I guess Wesley Burke going to continue to try to stay out. Good for him. Good for him. It's almost like he knew what I was thinking. He said, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Running down here at the bottom of the track under pacing conditions, trying to save as much fuel as possible. Jamie Lipke gets the wave around here late in the race. Still going to be a couple laps down. This will bring Lipke back to 3 laps behind the race leaders. Is McColgan still down in the pit stall? Burke,
53 is going to be the 53 is going to be issued an EOL from race control, as he was the one who wedged himself under the 54 of Austin McColgan. So head on to the rear.
Whitley came in.
That's
Whitley
interesting.
came back down into the pits for fresh tires.
Our producer said we're good for whatever now. I feel like things are about to get real turned up. As we take another parade lap here, we want to make sure that we cannot forget to talk about our friends at INVETS. INVETS aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They are a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work. And we quite frankly would not be on the air at all tonight without our friends at INVETS. So huge thank you to them. As the iRacing.com pace car comes out of turn 4, getting ready to hit that switch and turn off those lights. Back green flag racing as we've got just under 20 to go from right here at Bristol Motor Speedway. This is probably one of the coolest places there is. I mean, Bristol, the town itself, straddles the line between Tennessee and Virginia. And that's so cool. There's a bar in Bristol that literally has a line through it between state lines.
You know, Bristol's one of those places I would love to be able to visit specifically for this seasonal night race. I think that's one of the reasons why it's my favorite race here one of my favorite races of the season for Goat Locker racing under the lights at Bristol. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it seems like a good time. As the green flag hits the air, we want to thank our friends at Extreme Scoring for sponsoring the restart zone. And to the inside now goes Joseph McWhorter. It's almost like, at least to me, it seems as if maybe Whitley wanted to get out of the way, let McWhorter go up there and create havoc. Oh, bumping the 04 now into the wall. But Burke is not phased as we now go under caution once again for the 9th time tonight. They say the 9th time is the right time. Does that mean 9th time is the... Oh! Under caution, the 50 just gave it right to the rear of the 04. Kyle Deering, you, sir, are not very nice. Let's take a look at the V-Speed Instant Replay. There's a lot to unpack here. All right, good gravy.
Oh, man.
Well, someone's going to need a trip to the chiropractor. Let's watch the 04. Now, Burke brings it under control, and the 50 just nudges him down the racetrack. What was that?
Well, that was Burke slowing down for the very narrow gap to get through the stop cars on track. And we saw McWhorter, he worked his way right through it still pretty well, almost at full speed. Burke checked up heavily for those cars, and I don't think the 50 at Deering was quite ready for it, and Burke is going to be on the receiving end of an attempted field goal.
Yeah, he was definitely a receiver in that particular stance. As now all but crab walking down pit road is Kyle Deering. He's going to have to come in and hit that fast repair, as he's going to get 4 tires and some repair done on the 50, and probably, and I'm just saying, an EOL, if not a post-race penalty for next week as well for that move. As now Deering going to pull off of pit road. That means that at least for the time being, it looks like Joseph McWhorter is being scored as our race leader, as now Rick Raven has decided to give the kiss of death to Joseph McWhorter.
He says he's going to break this curse if he kills him.
Is it Ravon or Raven?
Ravon.
Ravon. That sounds like... See, now that sounds like a baseball player from the 80s. Oh, that's Ray Vaughn. He's starting today for the, Durham Bulls. The Syracuse Chiefs.
Well, Dave, what I'm worried about right now, after the contact to the rear bumper of Wesley Burke, how well will that car be able to manage the rear downforce? I would expect to see some very loose conditions, as you can see there, very smashed in after Kyle Deering put the front bumper to him. But again, on the old tires, 89 laps so far for Wesley Burke, and now some damage. There could be some issues here with this restart, getting down into turn 1 and turn 3.
It's almost like the 50 just wanted to see if he could upset the 04, because, I mean, for a driver that has not come down pit road with now, 10, 11 laps to go, it's almost like he was jealous. And if you can't beat him, kill him. That's fairly accurate. It's going to be adding another lap to the caution to move the 53 back. Now the iRacing.com pace car lights are off. That means we'll be getting ready to go back green flag racing in just a moment. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, for making us a part of your evening, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Taking a look at the 4 machine, perhaps the worst thing to ever come out of St. Louis is Bud Select. Ugh. That seems very strange to call urine beer, but there it is. We hit the extreme scoring restart zone. Joseph McWhorter hits the hammer, and the 4 all over the back of the 04. I'll tell you what, he is being crinkled up like aluminum foil as we dive down the backstretch. 10 to go right here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Joseph McWhorter takes over the race lead. Wesley Burke following close behind without having stopped all night long. I mean, you know, with the way that these cautions have come out tonight, that does extend his fuel mileage. What it doesn't do is extend the life on that rubber.
Oh, sliding.
Holding on tight. Good gravy.
And the yellow is back out once again.
Nope.
I don't see any issues on the track.
Too much happening, multiple incidents.
A call from race control that
Sam-
that previous
Sam Yost-
restart is under review too.
Yeah, Sam Joseph just threw his hands in the air like he just don't care. He said, you know what, guys? Had just about enough of your crap tonight. That's what he said. Heard him say it.
He's going to
You know
give
what?
Wesley Burke another chance, though.
You know, I've been giving Sam Joseph a really tough time tonight because I like him. He's cool people. But race control has got to be one of the hardest on earth to do. Here's the incident as our production. What do we got here? Taking a closer look. Oh, this was a. Look at all these. Yeah, Austin McColgan here. Look at this disaster waiting to happen. Good Lord. Yeah.
There's the truck again.
Yeah, you
Bullseye.
got to do something about that, pal. Hey. But, you know, race control has got to be one of the hardest things on iRacing to do. You're trying to watch, you know, in this case, 20 drivers on the lead lap. But all of these drivers, you've got to figure out who's doing what, where they are, and who done it. We've seen netcode be a factor. We've seen, you know, self-spins be a factor, and it's not very clear cut. So, seriously, a salute to our friend Sam Joseph over in the race control booth.
Normally a little bit of assistance up there, but unfortunately all by himself tonight. He's doing a great job of keeping things under control here, especially with having 10 cautions on the board. A lot to review up there in the RC booth. It looks like the 59 of Frederick Seagraves Jr. will receive a penalty, a drive-through penalty at that, for accidentally changing lanes on that previous restart. So that'll take that 59 machine right out of the top 5, put him back at the back of the field here, and at risk of going a lap down to, of course, only being, you know, 4 to go. Will be 3 to go once we take the green. It's going to be hard to recover from.
Just
Doubling
3
back
laps to
up.
Go ahead.
It's all you, man. I was just doubling back up here with the pace car lights out.
With
Green
4
next on
laps to
bell.
go, the scary thing is anything that happens in the next 2 laps will trigger NASCAR overtime. And quite frankly, after, you know, 10 cautions, nobody wants to see that as we hit the extreme scoring restart zone. The iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down pit row. Barney waves the green flag in the air, and off we go with 4 left here at Bristol Motor Speedway on the oldest tires on the racetrack. Wesley Burke gets the jump over top of Joseph McWhorter. We stay green. Now McWhorter dives to the inside. Wesley Burke with a run in front of him. 3 laps to go. McWhorter now coming just up behind him on that left rear quarter panel. Wesley Burke not having taken a pit stop tonight. 2 laps. The popsicle sticks are in the air. McWhorter works the inside. Burke has a good run to the high side. Burke drag racing down with McWhorter, and we have the white flag in the air brought to you by Glove Station. We are racing back to checkers, and Joseph McWhorter and Wesley Burke are drag racing back to the start-finish line. Wesley Burke goes side by side, wheel to wheel, they bang at the wall, and Joseph McWhorter bests Wesley Burke, who hasn't taken a single pit stop all night, as Joseph McWhorter brings home the checkered flag. Wesley Burke wins the war of all that is time on the racetrack. Devontae Drain, I'm sorry, he gets the honorable mention getting the third step on the podium. But good gravy, Joseph McWhorter just had to sweat his face off to get Wesley Burke the better here on the final turn of the race.
McWhorter will burn it down here at the start-finish line of Bristol Motor Speedway. Congratulations to the 72, the 04 with the P2 finish, and a very quiet night for Devontae Drain. I don't recall mentioning that name even once today.
No, you said it during our starting lineup. You did mention it once.
Fair enough, but you know, a quiet night at Bristol isn't such a bad thing, as he'll take away P3, as Joseph McWhorter will do the Polish lap here. Dave, what do you say we send it to a quick commercial break? We'll get set up for our post-race show and, of course, interviews with our top 3 finishers. We'll be right back, everybody.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. INVETS can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. INVETS can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about INVETS, visit us at invets.org today.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered.
Shit. Want to welcome everybody back to Bristol Motor Speedway. As our production truck just said, we're going to take another break, and then we said, never mind, just kidding. Let's take a quick look at our final results, though, before we check in with our top 3 drivers. Final results, Joseph McWhorter brings home the checkered flag. We're going to talk to him in just a moment, as well as Wesley Burke and Devontae Drain. Wyatt Dooling and Cody Turner finish the top 5 out, while Stefan Purcell gets the 92 lung dart machine into 6th. 7th position goes to Garrett Kinder, with Mark Whitley getting the double natural in 8th position. Brandon Wallace and Christopher Heiner round out your top 10.
Chuck Pegleg Feltz in the 75 takes home 11th, with the 56 of Benjamin Richards just behind him. The 29 of Judson Curtis falls back to P13. Brock Price moves up 8 positions for a 14th place finish, with Kyle Deering, after getting an EOL for the contact under caution with Wesley Burke, he'll recover back to a 15th spot with Dave Calvert behind in the 90 machine. Tracy Passons in the 53 takes home 17th. Stephon Davis in the 09 wrapped up a ton of times tonight. He'll take home 18th, with Mark Barcelos, the 49 machine, taking home 19th. And in the top 20 is Daryl Whitford.
Finishing out the rest of the field, Frederick Seagraves Jr. the third. He finishes in 21st, while Jamie Libke finishes in 22nd. Gary Wright finishes 23rd, while Austin McColgan, Barrett Morton, and Kevin Price make up the best of the rest here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And speaking of the best, let's check out what our race winner is doing. Joseph McWhorter.
That's impressive.
Here in the 72. Hey, Joseph, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Oh, yes, sir.
Buddy, listen, a long race tonight, 10 cautions, that can be nerve-wracking, but you still had a lot of work to do to get around the 04 who never came down pit road. Take us through those last couple of laps.
Man, that was a lot of fun. He kind of misjudged the start and kind of jumped it a little bit and let me back have it, but it was enough to stay on my quarter panel. And I let him go around me because I figured I might have a better shot, getting him back by on the bottom, which is normally not what you would think, but I felt like I was a little bit better than him rolling the bottom because that's how I got around him earlier. And, man, I was just nailing the throttle off of every corner, just drifting the darn thing sideways. And then coming to the line, I kind of got loose a little bit and kind of door tapped him again. I was trying my hardest to stay off of him. But yeah, just I cannot believe he made that work with not pitting. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching from up here in the booth and realized, hey, Wesley, at first I thought my timing and scoring had glitched and, it didn't register that he had come down. But you still had your hands full with him. So congrats, man, on the finish tonight. Before we cut you loose, you know how we do it here. Who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done tonight on the 72 machine?
Yeah, first and foremost, got to thank Outlier Speed Co., amazing partner of mine. Johnny the boys have been building amazing cars. So go check them out at outlierspeedco.com. Red Camel Racing, go check them out at redcamelracing.com. They're a great partner. Fire suit, shoes, helmets, you name it that you need for a race weekend, they've got it. We're going to be running the I-44 Speedway in Lebanon, Missouri in our Crown Vic next week with their equipment. So really excited for that. Now that the car is actually fixed and everything. So really excited to be making my debut on a short track, a high bank short track like tonight. So that's going to be really cool. I think you guys can check that out on Dirt Vision. That's Lebanon I-44 Speedway. I want to thank, let's see, who else do I got to thank? Driven Motorsports, teammate Mark Whitley. You guys for putting on a broadcast. You guys do a fantastic job each and every week. Glad to lock ourselves into the Final Four, and let's go see if we can't go get us a championship.
All right, brother. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That the voice of Joseph McWhorter. And next up on our podium, I believe Logan has them now, is Wesley Burke, who had a hard-fought battle tonight.
Yeah, Wesley Burke with a fantastic race. One of two cars that elected to take this from green flag to checkered and ending up on total opposite ends of the timing and scoring. Wesley, what were the thought processes in your head going through this race? And, what made that determining factor for you to stay out the whole time?
Well, I know I wasn't quick enough to beat Mark and Joseph on raw pace. And, I mean, we had so many cautions. I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to put myself in the back and get wrecked. There was no way I was doing it. And it worked out. Every caution, I just went to the apron, cooled the tires down, got them cooled off for the restart. And then by the end, my tires were just as good as Joseph's with how many heat cycles were on them. And that like third to last restart where I gave it up to Joseph, I missed a shift. And that just cost me. Missed a shift, and then the one time I didn't throw it into the turn to try to get a better exit is the one the caution came out on. I was like, ugh. So.
Well, it was a great run regardless. I was rather impressed up here. Of course, 40 laps led for you. Now I'm curious, the contact off of turn number 4 on the final lap. What are your thoughts on McWhorter getting into your door there?
Oh, that's just good hard racing. I mean, I know he didn't mean to. I came down a little bit, so it's all good.
Well, no bad blood going into the final race of the round of 8. Wesley Burke, congratulations on finishing out P2 here at the world's fastest half mile. Anybody that you'd like to say thanks to or shout out for your second place finish?
Well, I'd love to thank Premier Racing Setups for being my new team. Great setups over there. I've been running the trucks, and that setup is so good. A lot of good people over there. If you want a set, you go to premierracingsetups.com and go get you some. They have oval, dirt oval, road, pretty much whatever you want. And then all the league sponsors, wherever it is. Gym Printing and Promotions, INVETS, V-Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, GTR Simulators, and you guys up in the booth.
I appreciate your time, Wesley. We'll catch you next week for the final race of the round of 8, the penultimate race to the championship. We'll see ya.
See ya.
That'll be all for Wesley Burke. And Dave, I believe you've caught up now with our third place finisher, Devontae Drain, joining us up here in the booth.
Hey, Devontae, it's Dave up at the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, copy.
Buddy, listen, first and foremost, we probably owe you some form of an apology because we were totally laser focused on that battle for the lead. And then I happened to look at the third place finisher and was like, hey, look, it's Devontae. Look at you finishing up.
Yes, sir.
Listen, but, at the same time, and Logan and I were talking about it, when you can quietly gain 7 positions at a place like Bristol without, drama or BS around it, that means that you had yourself a pretty good night here in the 33.
Yeah, man, that top line was working. I don't know why more people weren't up there. It seemed like it was a big battle to get on the line. I was just making all kind of headway on that top line. Big grip, big speed.
Yeah, I mean, all night long we saw a couple of people try to go up there, but I think there was just a general amount of fear that kept some drivers from up there. But obviously, you decided to, show everybody your cojones and dig in up in that high line. So, congratulations on the third place finish tonight. I know that it doesn't really have any playoff implications, but at least you get some bragging rights that you were up there duking it out with Joseph McWhorter, a driver that didn't even come down pit road, and yourself. That's a pretty successful night.
I mean, yeah, you said it. If I don't say so myself, I mean, watching those guys beat and bang, I was hoping that they're gonna get just enough sideways I could slip past them, maybe sneak out a win. Really, it was just me and Freddie, though, man. Freddie's a playoff driver. We're on the same team, and we were just working our way through the pack, trying to get up there, man. And we had a little bit of something up our sleeves, but just didn't work out at the end there, unfortunately.
No, I get it. Well, listen, man, before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done on the 33?
Oh, GLR, thank you for guys just putting on an absolute awesome series. I mean, I've come up myself as just not really being that much into really NASCAR racing, and man, this series has really brought me along and really owned my skills. So, I mean, I really just appreciate the series in general. But man, iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, Harpoon Design, Zach Graphics, and obviously 4Wide, Dark Fusion Systems, Snowman Studios, Lake Effect Studios, Chef Content, TRC, all the people back home, INVETS, of course, as well. Everybody around, thank you guys so much.
All right, my friend, congratulations. We'll see you next week at Chicagoland.
Yes, sir.
Well, Logan, another one here in the books for the Goat Locker Racing INVETS Grand National Series, and what a night it has been. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in and making us a part of their evening. We want to thank everybody, of course, for cheering on these drivers. Joseph McWhorter gets the win. And so for myself, Dave Regal, my broadcast partner extraordinaire, Logan Santa Threlkeld, and our producer, Sky Daly, want to thank everybody. And tomorrow and every day, as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.